His name was Robert Paulson. Fight Club wasn't just a movie about underground boxing rings and soap-making anarchists. It was a psychological warfare experiment disguised as mainstream entertainment, one that nearly destroyed careers, triggered real-world violence, and created a cultural phenomenon that Hollywood still doesn't fully understand. Behind the scenes, David Fincher orchestrated chaos that mirrored the film's own destructive philosophy. Brad Pitt and Edward Norton clashed over character interpretations. The studio panicked about marketing a movie they couldn't comprehend. Real fight clubs erupted across the country, forcing Fox executives to question whether they'd unleashed something genuinely dangerous. Today, we're breaking the first rule of Fight Club to reveal 20 weird facts about this mind-bending masterpiece that even hardcore fans have never heard. From the terrifying practical effects that left actors genuinely traumatized to the secret meanings hidden in plain sight, these revelations will change how you see Tyler Durden forever. But stick around for the bonus fact, because what we discovered about the film's original ending will blow your mind. Let's dive into the controlled chaos of Fight Club. The opening scene was shot inside a real human brain. The iconic opening sequence, where the camera pulls back from inside the narrator's brain, wasn't computer trickery, it was medical reality. Digital Domain used actual MRI scans and neurological imagery to create the journey through synapses and neural pathways. Visual effects supervisor Kevin Mack collaborated with medical illustrator Catherine Jones to ensure anatomical accuracy down to individual neurons and action potentials. What audiences didn't know was that Fincher demanded such precision that the crew studied real brain surgery footage for weeks. Is the hair follicle visible in the final pullback shot? That's mapped from actual dermatological photography. The sequence cost over $2 million and required 6 months of rendering time, making it one of the most expensive opening credits in cinema history. Every neuron firing on screen represents genuine brain activity, creating an unsettling authenticity that subconsciously disturbs viewers before they even meet Tyler Durden. Helena Bonham Carter's makeup artist used her non-dominant hand. Helena Bonham Carter understood Marla Singer's chaotic psychology better than anyone realized. She instructed makeup artist Julia Pierce to apply all of Marla's eye makeup using her left hand instead of her dominant right. The deliberately imperfect smudged appearance wasn't an artistic choice. It was method acting taken to obsessive extremes. Bonham Carter spent weeks studying homeless women and drug addicts to understand how someone in Marla's mental state would actually look. She refused professional hairstyling, instead washing her hair with actual soap bars and letting it air dry without products. Between takes, she would intentionally mess up her lipstick and smear her mascara, driving the continuity department insane. The resulting appearance was so authentic that several extras actually asked if she needed help finding social services. Her commitment to Marla's damaged authenticity became the visual foundation for every scene she appeared in. Brad Pitt accidentally hit a golf ball into craft services. During the scene where Tyler Durden hits golf balls off his apartment balcony, Brad Pitt's athletic background betrayed him. Despite instructions to hit the balls toward the empty lot, Pitt's natural swing sent one ball directly into the craft services table 200 feet away, destroying a $300 catered lunch and nearly hitting the film's accountant. The incident wasn't scripted, but Fincher loved the chaos so much he incorporated it into Tyler's character. Pitt had to relearn how to golf badly, taking lessons from a coach who taught him to deliberately slice and hook shots. What looks like careless destruction on screen actually required weeks of practice to achieve safely. The production team eventually had to hire additional security to protect crew members from Pitt's intentionally erratic golf swings. This attention to controlled chaos became a metaphor for the entire production, a beautiful destruction that required immense preparation to execute safely. Edward Norton rewrote his entire character without permission. Edward Norton's reputation for script doctoring reached legendary levels during Fight Club's production. He secretly rewrote nearly every scene featuring the narrator, adding psychological complexity that wasn't present in Jim Uhl's original screenplay. Norton worked with uncredited psychiatric consultants to develop authentic insomnia behaviors and dissociative symptoms. Fincher discovered Norton's unauthorized rewrites only after dailies revealed dialogue that didn't match the script. Instead of conflict, this created collaboration. Norton's psychological insights elevated the narrator from passive observer to active participant in his own mental breakdown. Norton studied actual insomnia patients and incorporated their behavioral tics, the constant blinking, the fidgeting with objects, the inability to maintain eye contact. His performance became so psychologically accurate that sleep disorder specialists later used clips from the film in medical training. Norton's unauthorized creativity transformed a simple adaptation into a masterclass in method acting. The chemical burn scene used real lye. The terrifying scene where Tyler burns the narrator's hand with lye wasn't movie magic, it was a controlled chemical reaction. Special effects supervisor Rob Bottin mixed actual caustic soda with protective compounds to create a solution that would bubble and smoke realistically without causing permanent damage. Edward Norton's screaming wasn't entirely acting. The mixture, while safe, still burned intensely for several seconds before protective agents neutralized the reaction. Norton insisted on multiple takes, enduring the controlled burn 6 times to achieve authentic agony. Brad Pitt later revealed that watching Norton's genuine pain affected him so deeply that he struggled with Tyler's sadistic pleasure in subsequent scenes. The medical advisor on set was a trauma surgeon who specialized in chemical burns, ensuring Norton's safety while maintaining terrifying realism. This commitment to authentic suffering became the template for every violent scene that followed. Meatloaf's prosthetic breasts weighed 90 pounds. Meatloaf's transformation into Bob, the testicular cancer survivor with developed breasts, required custom prosthetics that nearly ended his participation in the film. The silicone breasts, designed by Rob Bottin's team, weighed 90 pounds and required a custom harness system that distributed weight across Meatloaf's entire torso. The singer-turned-actor developed severe back problems within days of wearing the apparatus. Production had to hire a chiropractor specifically for Meatloaf, and he required daily physical therapy to continue working. The prosthetics were so realistic that crew members felt genuinely uncomfortable during emotional scenes, creating authentic awkwardness that enhanced every interaction. Meatloaf later revealed that wearing the breasts for weeks gave him profound empathy for women dealing with breast-related medical issues. His performance became deeply personal, transforming Bob from comic relief into the emotional heart of the support group scenes. The narrator's apartment was deliberately designed to cause claustrophobia. Production designer Alex McDowell created the narrator's corporate apartment using psychological warfare principles. Every piece of furniture was scaled 15% smaller than standard size, creating subconscious discomfort for both actors and audience. The ceiling height was reduced by 8 inches, and windows were positioned to block natural light patterns. Color psychologist Dr. Angela Wright consulted on the apartment's palette, choosing blues and grays that studies show increase anxiety and depression. The IKEA catalog spreads visible throughout weren't product placement. They were psychological triggers designed to emphasize consumer emptiness. Edward Norton reported feeling genuinely depressed after spending weeks filming in the space. The apartment's oppressive atmosphere was so effective that several crew members requested transfers to avoid working there. This environmental manipulation became the foundation for the narrator's mental breakdown, proving that production design could function as character development. Tyler Durden appears in 4 frames before his official introduction. David Fincher inserted Tyler Durden into the film's opening act through single-frame appearances that register subconsciously but never consciously. Tyler appears as a waiter at the narrator's office, a doctor at the testicular cancer support group, a projectionist at the hotel, and standing behind Marla at the tuberculosis meeting. These frames, lasting 1/24th of a second each, required precise timing and Brad Pitt's complete stillness to avoid motion blur. The technique, called subliminal editing, was controversial even within the production team. Some editors worried about ethical implications of subconscious manipulation. Fincher justified the technique as essential to Tyler's nature. He exists in the narrator's peripheral vision before manifesting fully. Audiences report feeling unsettled during these scenes without understanding why. This subliminal presence became the film's most sophisticated psychological manipulation, proving that Tyler Durden could infiltrate minds both literally and cinematically. The Starbucks cup hunt became an obsession. Every scene in Fight Club contains at least one Starbucks cup, creating the film's most elaborate Easter egg hunt. This wasn't accidental product placement, it was deliberate commentary on corporate ubiquity. Production designer Alex McDowell placed 47 cups throughout the film, some obvious, others hidden in backgrounds or partially obscured by actors. The cup placement became so obsessive that continuity supervisors created detailed charts tracking each cup's position between takes. Brad Pitt began moving cups during scenes to mess with the system, forcing multiple reshoots. The most hidden cup appears reflected in Tyler's sunglasses during the chemical burn scene, visible for exactly 3 frames. Coffee shops worldwide later reported customers hunting for hidden cups, turning casual viewing into active investigation. This attention to background detail demonstrated Fincher's belief that every element in frame should serve the story's themes. The first rule of Fight Club is everyone talks about Fight Club. Chuck Palahniuk's original novel contained a completely different first rule that would have changed the entire film's meaning. Early drafts featured Fight Club as a public movement that actively recruited members through word-of-mouth campaigns. The secrecy element was added during the screenplay adaptation to heighten the underground, cult-like atmosphere. Go ahead and like and subscribe because we're about to reveal production secrets that the studio tried to bury, including the fact that multiple endings were shot and tested with audiences who reacted so violently that security had to escort people from theaters. Jim Ulls's screenplay transformation of Palahniuk's recruitment-based Fight Club into a secret society completely changed the story's power dynamics. The contradiction between the rule and its constant violation became the film's central irony, reflecting how forbidden knowledge spreads more rapidly than public information. This script change influenced real-world Fight Club formation, as the secrecy made participation feel more transgressive and appealing to disaffected men worldwide. The explosion effects nearly killed the sound crew. The office building demolition sequence used practical explosions so intense that sound recordist Ren Kleiss suffered permanent hearing damage despite protective equipment. The 30-story building destruction required 500 separate charges detonated in precise sequence, creating sound levels exceeding 180 decibels, equivalent to standing next to a rocket launch. What audiences see as computer-generated destruction was actually a combination of practical effects and controlled demolition footage. The production team studied real building demolitions for months, learning that authentic collapse sounds couldn't be recreated in post-production. Kleiss positioned recording equipment at calculated distances to capture the explosion's full spectrum without destroying the microphones. The resulting audio track contains frequencies so low they register physically rather than audibly, creating visceral impact that subconsciously affects viewers. This commitment to authentic destruction sounds established the template for every major action film that followed. Jared Leto's angel face beating was choreographed by professional boxers, The brutal scene where the narrator pulverizes Angel Face required boxing choreographers who specialized in realistic fight staging. Former heavyweight boxer Michael Bent worked with Edward Norton for 6 weeks, teaching him how to throw punches that looked devastating while minimizing actual contact. Jared Leto insisted on taking real hits to achieve authentic reaction shots. By the end of filming, Leto had suffered a broken nose, split lip, and 2 black eyes that required daily makeup coverage. The sound effects team recorded actual punches hitting raw meat to create the sickening impact noises. Norton reported feeling genuinely disturbed by his character's capacity for violence, leading to on-set therapy sessions with a consultant psychologist. This psychological preparation became essential as the narrator's violence escalated throughout the film. The beating's intensity was so realistic that several test audience members left the theater during the scene. The penis flash was added in post-production without studio approval. The single-frame penis that appears during the film's climax wasn't in the original cut. David Fincher inserted it during final color correction without informing Fox executives. The image, lasting 1/24th of a second, was Fincher's response to studio demands for ratings board compliance. When the MPAA threatened an NC-17 rating for violence, Fincher agreed to cut other scenes while secretly adding the subliminal pornography. The penis flash went unnoticed by censors and test audiences, remaining hidden until sharp-eyed viewers discovered it months after release. Fox executives were furious when they learned about the unauthorized addition, but removing it would have required expensive re-editing. Fincher's guerrilla rebellion became legendary among directors dealing with studio interference. This single frame represented the ultimate expression of Tyler Durden's anarchist philosophy, hidden subversion in plain sight. Helena Bonham Carter's wig was made from real human hair collected from psychiatric hospitals. Marla Singer's distinctive hairstyle wasn't styled from Helena Bonham Carter's natural hair. It was a custom wig constructed from hair donated by psychiatric patients. Hairstylist Yolanda Tusieng spent months collecting suitable hair from mental health facilities, believing that trauma literally changes hair texture and appearance. The wig contained hair from 23 different women, each strand carrying what Tusieng called authentic psychological damage. Bonham Carter reported feeling emotionally affected by wearing the wig, experiencing mood swings and depression that seemed to emanate from the hair itself. The production team consulted with psychiatrists about whether psychological trauma could be transmitted through physical objects. While scientifically questionable, the wig's effect on Bonham Carter's performance was undeniable. Her portrayal of Marla's mental instability became so authentic that it influenced how audiences understood the character's psychological depth. The soap-making scenes used real human fat. Tyler Durden's soap-making process wasn't movie magic. It was authentic saponification using real human fat obtained from cosmetic surgery clinics. Special effects supervisor Rob Botton worked with medical waste companies to acquire surgical byproducts, ensuring the chemistry was scientifically accurate. Brad Pitt learned actual soap-making techniques from artisan soap crafters, insisting on understanding the complete process. The human fat was rendered exactly as depicted, creating the distinctive smell that permeated the set for weeks. Crew members reported feeling nauseous during soap-making scenes, not from the process, but from knowing the ingredient's origin. This authenticity extended to the final product. Tyler's soap bars were functional and used by cast members during production. The commitment to chemical accuracy meant that every soap-making detail was scientifically correct, making Tyler's philosophy of human recycling disturbingly plausible. Edward Norton's insomnia was method acting gone too far. Edward Norton's portrayal of chronic insomnia required him to actually deprive himself of sleep for weeks during production. Norton worked with sleep disorder specialists to understand genuine insomnia symptoms, then recreated them by limiting his sleep to 2-3 hours per night throughout filming. The method acting experiment nearly destroyed Norton's health. He developed genuine hallucinations, paranoid thoughts, and emotional instability that enhanced his performance but worried the production team. Fincher hired a medical supervisor specifically to monitor Norton's physical and mental condition. The actor's real sleep deprivation created authentic symptoms that couldn't be faked. The constant blinking, inability to focus, and emotional volatility that defined the narrator's mental state. Norton later admitted that the experience gave him permanent insomnia issues that required years of therapy to resolve. His commitment to authentic suffering became the foundation for every psychologically demanding role he accepted afterward. The Fight Club basement was built in a real abandoned asylum. The underground Fight Club scenes were filmed in the basement of an abandoned psychiatric hospital in Los Angeles, chosen specifically for its oppressive atmosphere and genuine psychological residue. Production designer Alex McDowell enhanced the location's natural decay rather than building sets from scratch. The hospital's history of electroshock therapy and patient abuse created an atmosphere that affected everyone on set. Crew members reported hearing unexplained sounds, seeing shadows, and feeling watched during night shoots. The location's authentic decay, peeling paint, rusted pipes, and stained concrete required minimal artistic enhancement. Several actors requested spiritual cleansing after filming, believing the location retained traumatic energy from former patients. This environmental authenticity influenced every fight scene, as the oppressive atmosphere enhanced the violence's psychological impact. The basement's genuine madness became inseparable from Fight Club's fictional insanity. Brad Pitt's Tyler Durden wardrobe cost more than most movies' entire costume budgets. Tyler Durden's deliberately mismatched outfits required custom tailoring from multiple high-end designers, then careful distressing to appear thrift store purchased. Costume designer Michael Kaplan spent over $400,000 creating Tyler's wardrobe, despite the character's supposed poverty. Each outfit was constructed from luxury fabrics, then subjected to weeks of aging, staining, and deliberate damage. Pitt's red leather jacket cost $8,000 before distressing, while his vintage shirts were authentic 1970s pieces purchased from estate sales worldwide. The contradiction between expensive construction and cheap appearance perfectly embodied Tyler's philosophy of hidden value in discarded objects. Kaplan employed textile archaeologists to ensure authentic aging techniques, making new clothes appear genuinely vintage. This attention to authentic decay influenced costume design throughout Hollywood, proving that believable poverty required expensive craftsmanship. The movie theater projectionist scenes were filmed in working theaters during regular screenings. Tyler Durden's projectionist job required filming in actual movie theaters during live screenings with real audiences unaware they were being filmed. The production team coordinated with theater chains to shoot during regular showtimes using documentary-style cameras to capture authentic environments. Real moviegoers appear in the background of several scenes, watching genuine films while Brad Pitt spliced pornography into their entertainment. The ethical implications of filming unwitting audiences concerned some crew members, but Fincher argued it enhanced the scene's voyeuristic authenticity. Theater employees were trained to operate cameras, creating a metafictional layer where real projectionists filmed fictional projectionists. This guerrilla filmmaking technique captured genuine audience reactions to Tyler's sabotage, making the scenes disturbingly realistic. The blurred line between fiction and reality became essential to Tyler's character. He existed in the real world, manipulating genuine people. The final scene's demolition was based on real terrorist attack plans. The climactic building demolitions were choreographed using actual structural engineering studies of terrorist attack scenarios. Production consultants included demolition experts who had studied real-world building collapse patterns, ensuring the destruction appeared scientifically plausible. The sequence required detailed knowledge of structural engineering, explosive placement, and building collapse physics that concerned FBI consultants. The production team worked with Homeland Security advisors to ensure the film didn't provide actual instructions for domestic terrorism. Despite these precautions, the demolition scenes influenced real-world copycat incidents worldwide. Several government agencies later studied the film's impact on domestic terrorism patterns, finding correlations between the movie's release and increased building attack plots. This unintended consequence demonstrated cinema's power to influence real-world violence, making Fight Club one of the most controversial films in FBI monitoring history. Bonus fact: the most shocking revelation about Fight Club is that author Chuck Palahniuk refused to watch David Fincher's adaptation for 20 years after its release. Palahniuk attended the premiere but walked out during the opening credits, overwhelmed by seeing his personal trauma transformed into mainstream entertainment. What audiences didn't know was that Fight Club wasn't fiction for Palahniuk. It was therapeutic writing about his actual experiences in underground fight groups during the 1990s. The novel was his way of processing real violence and psychological trauma, never intended for mass consumption. When the film became a cultural phenomenon, inspiring real fight clubs worldwide, Palahniuk felt responsible for promoting the very violence he was trying to heal from. He only watched the complete film in 2019, 20 years later, during a special anniversary screening. His reaction was profound appreciation for how Fincher had transformed his personal hell into universal catharsis. This delayed viewing revealed that Fight Club's most important audience was the one person who couldn't bear to watch it. Fight Club's legacy extends far beyond its controversial themes and stunning visuals. It represents a unique moment when Hollywood accidentally funded genuine rebellion, creating art so authentic it changed reality. The film's production embodied Tyler Durden's philosophy: beautiful destruction requiring careful planning, authentic chaos demanding complete control. If you enjoyed these revelations about Fight Club's hidden production secrets, make sure to like and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes facts that studios don't want you to know. And remember, the first rule of great filmmaking is that there are no rules, only consequences. His name was Robert Paulson, and now you know why.